what got you interested in medicine, and what had you choose to become an OBGYN?
Yeah, I love that question. And, for me, I didn't grow up planning to go into medicine. A lot of people do. I was more in that camp of, ooh, blood freaks me out and guts kind of freak me out. And I can't imagine going into medicine, even though I was kind of pushed in that direction because of doing well in math and science and biology. So I had kind of this interesting turn. I was studying engineering in college. I had a grandfather who was an engineer, and I was actually in a graduate program in bioengineering when I had a boyfriend, someone I'm no longer with, who was planning to go into medicine, and his father was a physician. And after getting to know me, he said to me, "Sara, why aren't you going into medicine? Like it's a way that you pull together science, but you're not alone with the truth. Like you can do it in a collaborative environment." And his words just really resonated for me. It felt like, oh my gosh, someone really gets who I am and what I care about. I need to relook at this whole medicine thing. So that really changed everything. I, started studying for the MCAT. I applied, and that's how I got into medicine. Going into obstetrics and gynecology is a bit different. When I landed at a Harvard Medical School, I had women's studies classes in college. In fact, those were my favorite classes, along with the engineering classes. And I had this, kind of awareness for the first time about what we're up against as women. And as I started to go through medicine, I realized there's two standards. There's a standard for men, and so much of the research had been done on men and assumed to apply to women. At that time, very few women were enrolled in research studies. The guidelines, the practice of medicine was based on men, and women were thought of as kind of these smaller versions of men, or men with breasts. And so that's what got me to kind of realize, wow, there's a lot of work to be done for women. So women's health was really attractive to me. I kind of loved everything, Emma. Mm-hmm. I loved psychiatry. I loved surgery. I loved primary care. I loved kind of the intellectual process of internal medicine. And I realized with obstetrics and gynecology that I could work on this mission to change women's lives, but I could also do all these things that I love. So it was kind of a perfect package in some ways. I mean, there's some issues. It's still male dominated. It's not quite big enough of a frame for me. Mm-hmm. But I had, often it comes down to our girlfriends. And I had a set of close friends through medical school. And one of them is a woman named Lisa Harris. And she and I figured out kind of early on that the personal is political, that our personal experiences as women in medicine, as, in a female body, those could be mapped onto policy. There's a bigger why behind it. And so we both ended up going into obstetrics and gynecology. In fact, I remember on match day, which is kind of the day in your fourth year that you figure out where you're going to go for the next 4 years, in this case for residency, we opened our envelopes together and we both matched, this is in Boston, we both matched at the University of California, San Francisco. And we were so excited because we didn't think they would take 2 Harvard students, but they did. So that's a bit about, how I got into medicine, and also how this whole story began with women and women's health and these challenges that women are up against.